Well, it is Monday, live at 11 a.m. This is Jason Schwartz. You're here at the Neutral Zone.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. So many men sold away. And I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his face. Pleased to meet you, hope you guess my name. But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game.
That's a funny thing. That's Sympathy for the Devil, written by Keith Richards and Mick Jagger. We know both of those guys from the Rolling Stones years ago. And I'm hearing a buzz on my headphones. I imagine that's not on the air. So if there it is, someone will come and fix something. Welcome to our show. It's Monday, a couple of weeks before our November election, 2018. I'm Jason Schwartz. This Neutral Zone was created. This is actually show number 18. 18. I started, and I was going to be interviewing political guests, and that was in June. And suddenly, my first guest was Nikhil Ananda. He's my friend for a long time, and he holds values that I do. In fact, I've often told him, I know that any decisions that would be made that he would make, he could make for me. And I can trust that he will stand up for the right principles. He's in a race, and here's a very nice lady named Linda Coit running against him. And, you know, I guess it's very important in this election for people to take a look at our future and see that we have people that have a long vision and are taking care of important things. Like in that race, I like Lynn, but a GMO farmer, how important is that? Well, you decide how important that is. And if you're in that district, that's a significant thing and should be considered. And I know that Lynn will like to do good and is a good person, no matter if she's in office or not. And all these candidates, whether they're in office or whether they're just, they just lost. But a lot of them, all of them, have a lot to offer, and I hope that we all stay plugged in, including our, quote, losers, because in that group of losers is probably our greatest opportunity. These are people that have had a vision to make things better or maintain things or do things the way they see, but they didn't get that seat. But private sector, by the theory that I have going on in my mind, says this government serves the people. I'm the people. If I have ideas, I can bring them up. And unless I want the government to pay for them, then private sector can do things with others in the private sector and solve these problems. Now, the government can shape making these things that we do better, or they can retard them by putting things in place to stop us. Those are the kind of things that government does, as far as I'm concerned. By the way, you're seeing an empty chair. This is not the TV show where they had the empty chair interview. This is, I have kept this show kind of free of political things. After that first show, I came to understand that we are now in election season, so me speaking to candidates needed equal time for the other candidates in that race. So in the primary, if there are 9 people running and I interview one, I have to give opportunity for all 9 to be here. So I didn't do anything in the primary in that way. And then after the primary, I thought, well, what have I been doing here on the Neutral Zone? I could have been doing music. I could have been doing art, talking to all kinds of people, which we will be doing, okay? Could talk about different things. And I've been talking about things that I thought needed to be discussed in neutral. For example, I mean, one that comes to mind immediately to me is one of our candidates for mayor, Ellie Cochran, has a real problem with the environmental management group and their decision to spend some millions of dollars on a project. I know it was mentioned in the council meetings, and I know that there's been some discussion, and I had Stuart Stant and Mike Miyamoto on my show. I really like these guys. Very, 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 very knowledgeable and open, and any kind of questions I had, they were open to hear and discuss answers and find answers. But then, when I was looking to interview candidates for this show, and I'm told that somehow I'm considered a saboteur on election stuff, I'm thinking, what could that possibly be? Because I know people that are doing things and I hear about things, that doesn't mean I'm in any way, and in fact I'm not, party to anything to hurt any of these candidates. In fact, my sponsor, theMauiMiracle.org, they're over this month. They were sponsors with me because they are trying to share values, and they thought it important that this election have results that reflected their values, and that's why they were here. But that was not anti-anyone. In fact, that was pro that candidate. But the reason I'm bringing it up is I like putting all sides of all issues here. I've invited Monsanto here. I've invited leaders in the Democrat Party here. I've invited Hawaiians here. I've invited people that are environmentally friendly here. I've invited people that are running political groups here, and we'll continue to show all sides of issues because we, the people, are one. That means this political thing that's going on is secondary to something that makes sustainability possible because we're all involved. It's sustainable for everyone. There's so many issues. I mean, I looked at the Maui News article that was written about Ellie and Mike. Those are our two candidates for you who don't know Ellie and Mike. Ellie Cochran and Mike Victorino running for mayor of Maui County. You might be in New York listening to this and you didn't know that, or you could be anywhere. But we have two candidates, both of them. I mean, what's the difference? One is an open advocate of environmental things and other things, and is, I want to say, has a Street Fighter type of act going on in the way she is. And the gentle side is there. I have opinions about that, but that's another day, another story. But still, she is standing up for what she feels is, and I believe is, really important things that we can do to make this a better place. And I have a lot of ideas if someone would come and ask me, but that's second story. Mike Victorino has been here, again, many years. Ellie's here 53 years or 50. I don't want to make her too old. And she's born here and raised here. And Mike, came from the Big Island, and he's been here and has a great family. And obviously, we all know he has a successful couple of sons, and he's got a successful wife and a successful life himself. And he's known by the community, and he is there for the people. And he has local values as he views them, and others that view him, as old boy network, some people say. Some people actually say that about Ellie Cochran, which is interesting. I hear all kinds of stuff, but I don't like to bring all stuff up. But I know one thing. Mike is open and listens, and I think Ellie is too. So where is the difference? That's for you to really look at and make a decision. Who's going to work with our council? These seats are here, by the way, because I've made an invitation to Ellie, which I guess still hasn't officially been turned down in response to my email. But I do know that I asked them to put it in writing. And I haven't heard back from Mike Victorino, but I know that importance is based on someone making it important, and that's you, our listeners. As time will go on, and we'll look at the shows that I have done and I'm doing now, you will see I'm building a library. I think a library that is going to give people an opportunity to get up close and personal with people that care about all kinds of issues that have answers and ideas. Some are in authority to make some of those things happen alone. Some of them need help and support. Some of them just need a forum to be able to put out important things. And we have a phone number here that you may not yet realize, but 873-3435, 873-3435, 808 area is KAKU call-in line. That doesn't mean I know how to answer it yet, but we have a call-in line, and we're going to have, when Shaggy Jenkins was on before, I knew we had a base of a listening audience. Now we have a recorded program. I don't know where on the mainland it is, but very good shows. In fact, very controversial subjects and things that are current going on. But I don't know who our listeners are here Monday morning. So we're going to be developing a base of listeners, and we're going to be continuing to talk about issues, but we're also going to talk about art and music and culture. The new sponsor I have for the next 3-month season is the Maui Arts and Music Association, MAMA. And it's known by a couple of things. It's known as MAMA, Maui Arts and Music Association, and it's known as PAPA. Mama and Papa, people aligned in positive action. Mama and Papa are the Dream Makers Foundation, and what its chartered purpose is, the reason I know is because I was the executive director of it for, 27 years. And we have a new executive director, Paul Praver, new for a couple of years. But we're going to sponsor, and we're going to be showing off art and music and culture and educating people about environmental solutions so that we might create a self-sustainability model, sort of modeled after my 1994 campaign for mayor. Now, we could have gone left and we could have gone right. We went left. Well, here we are, another crossroads. You got Ellie Cochran or Mike Victorino trying to be mayor. If we are involved, it almost isn't as significant to me. And maybe you can tell me otherwise. I'm happy to hear from you, either here or otherwise. But here at 873-3435. But with whoever is mayor, and they're making appointments and making decisions, we also have a council. Never mind, we're now going to go further than that. But that council has a potential to stay the same, create incredible amount of controversy over decisions. Some are really very short-sighted, and I don't need to get into any details. It's not for me to point a finger. It is difficult to be in an office and to be able to help everybody, to be able to serve everybody. But I believe that's really what I think needs to be shifting, because the people that need to be helped have been very radical in their approach. They're very much in the face of people that are not giving them what they want there at the council and not voting the way they. So we get this impression from many people get the impression that it's outsiders or it's newcomers or that are just somehow challenging the establishment and the way the things are and the way that they're going to continue to be. But you know what? If you look at the fabric of opinion, and I have, and I hear about it all the time, and it's out there, you'll see this is local people. I'm here since 1988. My guest last week, Mark Sheehan, since 1978. That's a long time. And granted, if you're Hawaiian, 1978, you remember that year. Suddenly you have the Office of Hawaiian Affairs going on, and you think things are going to turn around and change, and tremendous progress has happened. But you're still United States. You still haven't established anything that's recognized, and as I see it, I mean, there's no authority granted by anyone that has enforceable power. Enforceable power. Power by dictate is one thing, but enforceable power might take the fabric of support from the people, and it doesn't need to be an armed thing or a threatening thing. It can be a support from the people. And if you've lived here 30 years, I would say you're local. You know? I don't really know what to say. So this isn't local against foreigner. This is against a choice of people. Because after the election, there's going to be people that say, well, it would have been better if we had these people voting for us. We're going to have lots of time to talk and do. And I say that, and I mean that. Because we can do as private sector. Here we're going to turn to our sponsors here for a moment, and I'll be back.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Neutral Zone with me, Jason Schwartz, would like to thank themaui.miracle.org for their support. TheMauiMiracle.org, a source of information for Maui voters, can be found by visiting their website at themaui.miracle.org. The Neutral Zone heard Monday live at 11 a.m. and again Saturdays at 7 a.m. on the Voice of Maui, KAKU 88.5 FM.
Hawaii Youth Services Directory is online at 808youth.com. We envision a Hawaii where all youth are connected to the support they need to walk a pono path towards health, happiness, and abundance. 808youth.com is a free, easy-to-use online directory funded by the Office of Youth Services. If you're looking for a family-friendly event, check out our events calendar and connect with us on social media. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And now an Akaku Forum alert.
In preparation for the looming general election, Akaku will air a special forum presented by the Kula Community Association, which will feature the candidates for mayor and for county council. The forum will air on October 8th at 8 p.m. and will continue to run throughout the election season. Visit akaku.org or call 871-5554 for further information. Mahalo.
Oh, good. This is Jason Schwartz here at KAKU 88.5 FM, the Voice of Maui. I just got a text. Thank you, Mike Victorino. Mike Victorino, next week possible. Sorry, can't today. Well, I gave Mike a last-minute notification again, and in fact, that's good. So next week we have a guest that I'm sure will be happy to bump a week. He's a visiting guy from off the island who has local representation. His name is Ted Bowman, and that's a company that you're going to hear more about, Tsunami Products. How about a product that can create water from the air? Well, we've heard about that before, but no, this is now perfected technology. So if you live, let's say, a place where you can't get water lines in, well, what about taking water from the air and being able to get 125 gallons a day? That's the small unit, and that would handle a house. Wow. You mean, and wait, you can also take care of that by solar power? So that means we have power, and we have water, and we can take care of all our waste, and from flushing it down the toilet to any other waste we have, and eliminate that. That means a self-sustainable living potential. What would happen if Well, that's to be discovered. But maybe we can leave our fields fields. Maybe we don't have to build in places that we really don't want to build. Maybe we don't have to push the aquifer to the point of having fresh, no saline water for everybody. Maybe we can figure out how to take the load off the wastewater plants. Maybe these things are here, people. So Ted Bowman, who's coming from the mainland, who is going to be my guest next week, if I can shore up this thing, Mike Victorino will be my guest next Monday at 11. That'll be a pleasure. And so I think that's where I'm very happy to see that. I took the break a little early today because I have two great sponsors. Cash for Gold, Combine Alone, my friend Richard Dan. We're friends for 30 years for a good reason. He's a wonderful man. And he has been at 52 and now 98 North Market Street for many years, so many years. It's like amazing to me. But he's been, I want to say, the People's Bank. There's such a thing, I think there is. And my other sponsor, themaui.miracle.org. There's a website that really shares values, and it uses a word I really like called Los Angelesification, which is a big word. It means just what it sounds like, making places like Los Angeles and showing pictures of things that are designed for here. They're virtually identical with Los Angeles. So, anyway, and more. And it talks about values and Hawaiian values. Really great site. But they're going to be falling off our rolls as sponsor because the election is over. But they are a wonderful, wonderful group. TheMauiMiracle.org. Really, really appreciate their support and sponsorship. And we haven't really talked too much politics on this show because, to me, I don't really care who's going to be mayor. I don't really care who's on these seats because we're going to do things in the private sector that will, I hate using this word, trump. We're going to do things in the private sector that are going to trump what the government can do for us. There are things that can be made very positive and profitable and social and be responsible, and then we ask the government to help make it easier to do. You know, that's why I laugh when I see some of these forums. We're voting, and most people, they say 56% or more of people have gotten absentee ballots. And by the time the Maui News comes out with its candidate reviews, and they do a great job, Lee Amata and the team at the Maui News are out there in force, as well as these other papers. But I know, for example, the Maui News comes out next Sunday with something about the candidates. Half of us are already voted. But I hope people will look at these things because we have to see who these people are. Akaku does a forum. There was a forum up in Kula, long forum, lots of candidates, little time per candidate. We all need to know who these people are. I don't know who Claire Carroll is. Doesn't mean I don't care to, but I don't know who she is. I happened to meet Shane Sinensi. I found him to be a really solid guy. So why should we vote for Claire Carroll? Because her father was Bob Carroll? Maybe. What else is there? Is there support in community? I want to know. I want you to know. I'm one vote, and I already voted, so it's not even important, my vote now. You know what's important? You out there who vote, and also you who after the election might choose to not be involved. Well, we're going to give you a place to be involved here at the Neutral Zone, because the Maui Arts and Music Association, people aligned in positive action, want to be dream makers, and that takes you, the public. And you know what it costs to be a member? Nothing. You know what we want to do? Promote visual art and healing art and music and culture and educate people about environmental solutions and create a self-sustainability model. Maui. I ran on this platform 20 God knows years ago. And you know what? There are people that have that in their heart now. And when I speak those words, to me, I sometimes sound a little robotic, but that's because I'm talking about it a long time. But politics has gone on in this island a long time. And they're brick and mortar people. They look over the horizon, but they're dealing with problems that are now. And I'm glad we have people like that, people that know how to move the plumbing around and want to be involved. People like Alan Arakawa. I see him as a very, very powerful private citizen. This is in my ideal scene. Alan Arakawa has been a faithful servant, and, never mind individual politics, but he's been serving us a long time, and he's a nice man and has a beautiful wife and family, and they've all been really part of our community. I have nothing but praise about him. Things I've heard, I choose not to repeat, and things that may be, that's not my department. But I'll tell you, he has a lot of ideas. In fact, he's running for council because he doesn't want to let go of his ideas. And he has a bunch of people that he already has worked with that he knows support those ideas. If there's anything we don't know, and maybe when he's not in office, we can ask him and he'll be a guest on our show. Or even if he is in office, he can be a guest on our show. But I'm saying, these people, that's why I said before that people that don't get the seat maybe are our greatest source of potential, because now they have the attention of people and they can motivate teams of people to be able to create things that may not even involve the government, that may involve private sector, creating more jobs, creating more opportunity. And you heard me just a little earlier talking about our next guest, Ted Bowman, or Mike Victorino. I'm happy to have him next week. But now, Ted Bowman is flying because the Hawaii Farmers Union is having a fair, an exhibition, and they are going to have themselves there. So when you see the Hawaii Farmers event, that would be something to really check into. These products that I am talking about, I saw in Hawaiian homelands. There's unbelievable things that our world has already that can already help us here locally solve some of our biggest development problems. And I think that needs to be really looked at by whoever is mayor and council. I could go through each race in council, and I might talk a little about it, but here I am. It's almost halftime in our show. This is when commercials were going to be, and I may run a couple more. But again, I want to thank our current sponsors, Cash for Gold Combine Loan at 52 and 98 North Market Street in Wailuku. Excuse me. It's a holiday season. If you want to buy gifts, 98 North Market Street, they have a lot of things that are really extraordinary, and they got them in trade where they gave money through pawn business, and now they have products that are real good prices and really amazing stuff. And you know that these people that had an opportunity, they could have sold it or they could have reclaimed it, but none of these things are really terrific things. So that's one sponsor, and the other sponsor is the MauiMiracle.org. Again, an extremely lofty gold individual who put up a lot of money and a lot of his time and a lot of his focus to wanting to make Maui a better place. He doesn't own property here. He has no anything to offer except himself and his feeling like he would like this to be not Los Angeles. Anyway, we don't want to see another Los Angeles. I must tell you, I'm holding back on a couple of issues. And the main issue that I'm holding back on is homelessness and how people that are homeless are being treated, and lack of adequate facility, and lack of a safe zone, and lack of a lot of things. But the biggest thing that we all need, whatever island we're on in Maui County, is more compassion and a more understanding that with a blink it could be them. And not only that, that these people are not less than you or I. You know, I was listening to a show and they're talking about a religion. In fact, it was, I think, the show on here on Akaku right before I got on the air, talking about how religion has made its way into our social fabric, and it's changing things where, they want to make sure that things in school get done in a certain way that have these certain religious values tied to it. We have to live a true and good value. That, to me, would be the greatest way to be able to show what religion really should be. Draw no lines between religion. Love each other. I think it's funny. I grew up, born in 1951, and I was just at the end of the hippie thing. In fact, one of my friends, Jim Kimmel, not the guy on Late Night, but the guy here in Maui who was, some knew him as the pot preacher. Some knew him as the incredible reverend who studied the Urantia book for 45 years. Some know him as a guy that had great sons and a beautiful daughter. Daughter Rachel has a gallery over here, sons that are also a good part of our community. They're local too. They've been here for years and years. Anyway, I mentioned Kimmel. Got me off track, but it's worth it because Jim Kimmel was a wonderful and giving man. And that's how I get back on track, because that is what Jim Kimmel had. He was a giving and loving man who helped people no matter what their station in life. And he felt truly committed to doing God's work. And he brought up and made it a point that, man, we all are brothers and sisters, and that God is our Father, and that we all are together as one. And he really lived it. And I must say, the Hawaiian community had a lot of preaching from Kimmel. He was involved in stuff with the reinstated government of Hawaii and trying to help them craft things. It seems he married into a family where his great-great-great wife's great-great-great rep was the guy named Hartwell, who helped and drafted the thing that the Queen signed at the abdication of the throne. So he felt an even more important responsibility. But we all should love each other, no matter what race, religion, creed. And that surely seems to be, I don't know if it's economics that's making it happen or somehow people feeling not secure, but the homeless and people that are in challenge need to be given more opportunity to get back on track. And maybe these programs that we have now are overburdened. That means that we are people. We can get involved. And even if we don't get paid, I bet we can do a lot of good things and employ a lot of people in new ways. Again, this isn't the time for that, but it is time in that you are going to be making choices, those other of you that haven't voted, and you're going to choose who's going to be our next mayor and council. I hope you do that without doing it blindly. So if you see a forum on Akaku, watch it. If you read the Maui News or some of these other publications and you see what these candidates are about, that's good, but those are prepared statements, and those in no way reflect what they will do when they are faced with a vote or a crafting of legislation. It's going to be an interesting time and a powerful time, and I don't think that it's my role to tell you who to vote for. There are others that have. In fact, we've had them on our show. There was the Maui Pono Network, and we had a Safe guy here. And I offered opportunity for the Democrat Party to come on. I stayed away from candidates. Like, again, I wanted equal time. So I gave Ellie Cochran equal time to come on, and she, I guess, unofficially said no. But now she can officially say no, or she can still say yes, by the way. We still have a little time before the election. But I think Ted Bowman, and he's coming from the mainland, and he was going to be a guest. He'll be here a couple of weeks, so I'm sure bumping him a week to get Mr. Victorino on would be very welcome here. I'd like to think that we have a half hour left. I would like to play a little music. I ran into a gal that has played here years. She's a friend. I haven't seen her on Maui for a while, but she's here. Patricia Watson? Some of you remember that Patricia Watson played here and was a piano player and singer on Maui for many years. Had her family here. Now she's on cruise boats, traveling the world and playing music, making lots of people happy everywhere. and comes back here, and I ran into her, and she encouraged me and pushed me toward music, for me personally. I guess some of you know that opening Sympathy for the Devil song, I didn't really catch in the news that Donald Trump used that song for some of his rallies, and that Mick and Keith asked him to not use it, and I believe he still used it. But there was a guy named Mike in my music class who needed a singer for his music track that we were doing in class at the college here. By the way, the Maui College here is really a top-flight place, and many of you should think about going there. And many of you seniors should look into financial aid and go there and get training and get things, because it is a great place. But Maui College, I did the singing of that song, and Joel Katz is a great pedal steel player and piano player and guitar player, works with Jimmy Mack and the Cool Cats and other groups, of course. But in Joel's class, I sang that song, and that was a demo of us doing that song. And I just thought that those words were important for the beginning of this show, because I don't have any agenda. My agenda is to have an agenda of openness on this show, to bring all kinds of ideas and attitudes and hash it out so we can get discussion at 873-3435, area 808, for KAKU 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui, and get your opinions and work through things so that the private sector can be approached, and also they can step up with pieces that we need to move things forward without asking the government for their help. That doesn't mean we don't want their help. That doesn't mean we don't want people in the private sector that know how to make the wheels turn. Like I said, those people that lose these elections are valuable, and their contacts and who and what they can do. And so let's not think of them as losers. Let's now think of them as the people who want to make this a better place. And we'll work with those that are in these seats to make sure that this election doesn't divide us. Something I was going to say editor-in-chief. I guess our United States commander-in-chief, President Trump, doesn't often refocus on. He doesn't really focus on the fact that at the end of the day, it would be nice to help everyone. He's got some tough choices to make, and I think he's made a lot of great decisions. He's made some that I don't agree with, and a lot of them, too. But, you know, I think that I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. You know, I just cannot. We've decimated our environmental programs at a national level. I am glad that the world doesn't give up on important things like climate change issues. I'm glad that people in the United States stand up for what they know is right, in spite of a vocal and voting, get that? Vocal and voting group. We can be a vocal and voting group here, and not even as a group, as individuals who thoughtfully look at these candidates and these issues and they vote. Like, if you think we need more money for education, and you think the people that buying and doing with real estate and you think that we should, there's one you can vote on. You can make a difference in that vote. Or if you think that illegal vacation rentals should have their illegal status bumped into penalties that are meaningful penalties, $20,000, $10,000 is much more imposing than $1,000. Anyway, I think that there's all kinds of things that we can be involved in. So look at the issues, look at the candidates, and be involved. That means vote. And I talk about certain things. To me, the fact that we can register and vote on the same day means that right now, if you out there who haven't voted and haven't even registered decide that you see that if you get involved, your vote can help bring one of these candidates or all of these candidates that you want to do into office that'll better help your life and the lives of those around you, and you recognize that voting is important because it is the ultimate, at least now, here, in this situation, if you don't vote, your voice isn't heard. And if you vote and you don't get what you want, that doesn't mean go home and don't bring your marbles to the table. Bring your marbles to the table, because we're all playing here, and we're all playing for the betterment of all of us. That's who I am, and that's who I hope you are out there, because I don't think it's important for any of us to win while others lose. That scenario, and it sounds like a dream scenario. We're on an island. Unless we're going to keep running our problems into the ocean and push those problems into the ocean and make problems for the ocean, which we've done, but we don't have to anymore. We can stop using the aquifer. We can start making it self-sufficient. We can start building in places where we don't have to run water in. My goodness gracious. We can create power so we don't have to transmit it over great distances. And if the utility company would like to somehow get in partnership with homeowners, maybe they could be the ones to put up the money and the financing, along with others in the private sector who recognize the financial opportunity and, I want to say it, responsibility. You know, those that have because those that don't have may not have had opportunity and may not have put their time, effort, and energy in like those that have. I'm not denying that. But there's something called love and compassion. And when we're not on this earth, if we can talk about survival on different levels of humanity, because those that have, recognizing their responsibility to help those that may not have as much, they can still own it. They can still be the financing, and on their balance sheet, things will go exactly like they want. But they can finance the projects that we shouldn't have to ask the people to, or ask the people to through our taxes. So if you ask me if I'm Democrat or Republican, I think that I am more Democrat than Republican. But here in Hawaii, being Democrat doesn't put a good sticker on your head as good housekeeping seal of approval. And on the mainland, the same way. And with all the politics going on, I think that it's just crazy. And I'm really not seeing as much value in political parties as I thought I did in the past, because I don't see it being healthy to create the divide like we see on the mainland. And I'm hoping that we don't have that divide here, because there are some pretty bitter races on the council. There are some pretty bitter races for State House and State Senate. Bitter races. But when all is said and done, we all want to get the right things done. I hope some of those losers, who aren't losers, step up and we can create and do things and make them public and vocal in the private sector. If you'll notice, I somehow am filling up this show with all this time with me talking. I would like to give it a little break. I'm going to play a little music. I have a friend for many years. His name is Lono. And the reason I'm mentioning him, I don't remember the years. He went to Molokai, and he's been concentrating on his Hawaiian language, ukulele, his music in Hawaiian. But I know him when he was here, and he was one of the few musicians who always regularly called me up to sing, and we developed a friendship. I first met him when I did his taxes. So, you know, we musicians look past the surface, you see all kinds of stuff. Many of the musicians don't think of me as musicians because they don't see me playing a guitar or anything, but I sing. In fact, you heard me sing on the opening. You're going to hear some more. Here's a song I did. This was Lono's song that he wrote. You heard it here, part of it before here. You'll hear part of it again now. It was written when Jack Lewin was running for governor. And Lono was living in Maui Meadows, and he wrote this song, and he let me sing it. So it's called Unlock the Hope.
The time has come to make a change. The time has come to unlock the hope that lives every one of us, and we must do our part. We hold the visions God dreams of. Our hands can heal the ones we love. Let's gather round and let us make a stand. For you and me, unlock the hope and there's a better life. Unlock the hope, there'll be no turning back. But nothing changes unless we unlock the hope.
Yeah, it was a little clip. You know, I put together some little clips of songs that I like that deliver good messages, and I thought that was a great song that Lono wrote, and I think it's true now. It's very true. We have to unlock the hope. The rich are getting richer, and the poor are wondering, why are they serving the rich? Where is it serving them when there's not enough housing? I'm glad to see Mike Victorino say, number one priority, ground running, housing. And I'm going to show him, if I'm sure he has lots of good advisors too, but I'm going to show him ways to do this in ways that really going to make things amplify and make it go more quickly. And so it's going to be fun discussion, but not for on the air before an election, because it doesn't matter if Mike Victorino wins or not. Mike Victorino is powerful and has just as much power to help guide and move things. People think that because the election will make a vote, it's going to move things. You bet it's going to. But we can't stop and think of any of these people as powerless on the day after the election. They aren't. Let's move forward, whoever wins. You know, just like me talking about Alan Arakawa. I hope that Alan Arakawa stays involved. In fact, I'm not sure if it was strategy or just numbing after not being in office, but when Alan Arakawa was not in office, maybe he didn't hear what he was doing, but somehow he dropped out of things. Is that because he only thinks we can make things happen when you're in office? What about we who are not in office, who want to make things happen? Do you think that they think they can't do anything when they're out of office? I would like to see you out of office, doing things in the private sector to help make this a better place. I know you got it in you. You're telling us every day you got it in you. You're showing us you got it in you. Good. I don't think that being at the round table and having influence on your other votes in the round table is a place I'd like you to be. And, you know, I was running for that seat. That was my plan. But I didn't run for that seat. I gave Tasha a clear shot. And I think, you know, she's such an important fabric of our community. And she represents yet another Hawaiian at the table who has lived a challenging and rewarding life. Anyway, so that's one race. And I'm jumping all over the map, but that's good because there is no map. We think that when we're electing people that we are making change happen. No, we're placing a possibility. Let's see what we can do about making those possibilities where we all agree we're moving forward in a good way. You think that's not possible? I think it is possible. And we're going to, hopefully, on this show, work out some of those things where we have opinions from side A and side B, and we'll work it out to see where truth and where right is by... Yeah, it does sound ideal. Well, that's the goal. And we're going to make that forum possible because we don't want to attack people. We want to hear their side. Why is this vote that you made? Why are you making that vote? Why did you make that vote? Not that we hear some line in the paper. That's not enough. I don't think it's enough. I wish we had more of that right now before we get to vote. But we don't. We're seeing some of it, and I'm happy we are. Let me bring something else up. You know, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at another future guest. I have had this thing about water. I was trying to get Gladys Bisa on, but her office says she's busy till after the election. Okay. But as head of water supply, I would like to get up and close and personal with her, talking about what she knows. And I'm sure many of you would also. But there's a gentleman in Kula who has made a machine. It's called the Ultra One. And this machine takes water, and you heard me talk about water from the air, can make pure water from the air. How awesome. Well, this is taking water, pure or not pure, and out of it taking and extracting hydrogen. Hydrogen not only for healing, not only for fuel, but hydrogen also, as I'm looking at it, you know, he thinks of it as something its focus is going to be the unbelievable things it can do for health. This machine makes HHO plasma, which is another state of matter. I don't know if many knew that. There's solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. But it's a great, unbelievable healing tool. But if it be addressed to agriculture, and it can be used like I know it can to kill critters and microscopic critters and help other things grow better, it becomes like a natural fertilizer. It creates health and healing and makes us not need pesticides. So there's all kinds of potential things on our future show here. And again, to be introduced as Maui County, will have a potentially exportable product to the world. This is being created here, right now, in Kula. How fantastic is that? So you'll be seeing the Ultra One. So remember that. And next week, Tsunami Products. Tsunami Products. They will hit you like a tsunami. Just amazing to have water and water and water coming from the air. You know, we're going to deal with a lot of things on this show, and we're going to be talking. Sometimes we'll have knowledge about what we're talking about, and other times some of you will say, well, they're full of bull. Well, I hope that you think that we're full of bull are going to approach us, both on the air by calling us, but also by coming and being a guest, so we can look at things from your perspective here in the neutral zone. Some of you know we have a musical little piece. Here it goes like this. Here it is. Now this was played by Louise Lambert. I think that's so funny. I told her, oh, Louise, I just made this ball and it kind of moves it on the page, and I want to spell the name out on the bottom. So I sang it out and she played it. But that's the beginning to a television show called The Neutral Zone, which you're going to be seeing a lot of, not only here on Akaku and KAKU Radio, 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui, but you're going to be seeing it up on the net. And I'm going to start going into the podcast world. I have some people I haven't seen in 40 years. 40 years, that's amazing to say. 35 years. That are top in the entertainment industry. Top production people. And I'm going to show them that we, Maui, have a college that's training people. And we have a great local TV station. We have places to do shows all over. And we want to develop an industry here. And we're going to get our own people going on. And with their help, maybe, develop that. And without their help, we can develop it so that we can have a local, clean industry and get all our people here moving in the direction of staying on Maui when they get out of school. Being able to contribute to the success of Maui and these Hawaiian Islands and not have our talent pool, our local talent pool, move off island. And we're going to take advantage of the wisdom of the Hawaiian culture and the beauty of the Hawaiian culture we're going to all appreciate. And all the other cultures too, by the way. We're multicultural. We are an amazing place here, Maui County. We're going to do it all together. And whether or not we have the right people on council or not, we're going to be finding ourselves going out and making ourselves known and helping each other. Sounds sort of like religion. Well, it's not religion. It's the truth. We got a minute and a half to go, and when I say it's the truth, you don't have to agree with religion in any way to reach down in yourself and find out a better way to be to help someone else. And I think that's the bottom line. I'm seeing this world is getting harsh and more harsh, when in fact we got to turn that completely around and love each other and give to each other and help each other and employ people and give them a chance to live a better life. So remember, we hopefully will have Mike Victorino here next week. Please remember, we got about 30, 40 seconds to go. This is Jason Schwartz, KAKU, Neutral Zone, 88.5 FM, the voice of Maui and Kahului. It's been a pleasure to be here and to be talking with you. And soon you'll hear more music, but here's that jingle again. Here it is. It's called The Jingle. Thank you, Louise Lambert. Thank you, Maui. Aloha, everyone. The Neutral Zone with me, Jason Schwartz, would like to thank Cash for Gold, Carmine Alone for their support.